All right. Oh, Lord. James is a mildly functioning caffeine addict and a wage slave with distant dreams about opening a cafe. There's no way he'd act on his impulses, though, unless... This is totally me, except, you know... Yeah. This is James, is a disruptive interactive fiction slash visual novel. James will live his daily wage slave life the only way he knows how, but you, as the player, have a chance to change things in the world around him, to perhaps goad him into a happier end, or sadder. In a journey of trial and error, poke around to find out the many ways in which you can change the way James' life unfolds. This game was made in 5 weeks in Alito University as part of the Game Project course. I find it so interesting to... how they can put together these games so fast. Alright. But yeah, you're right. Way to at me, Casey. Way to at me. Let's jump in it. I'm going to go in full screen as soon as it loads. Don't forget, if you have community points, you can use it to... What can you all do with the sound alerts? Okay. Yeah, there's sound alerts, highlight message. Oh, hydrate. And you can use it to do that community challenge where we're doing a wasteland cooking with Road Rash. So don't forget to redeem your points. Okay, this is James. Use mouth to interact. Start game.
This is James. James woke up early as he did every workday. Groggy and tired, he went to the kitchen to begin his morning by turning on the radio. As a mildly functioning caffeine addict that he was, he started brewing a cup of coffee out of freshly ground beans that he had roasted the night before. While listening to the broadcast and drinking his cup of joe, James worried about a coming day at the office. Day was a deadline for a case he had worked on for weeks, and the client was coming in for a final review of the papers.
Oh, okay.
Realizing he was running late, he picked up his umbrella and briefcase before heading for the door.
Oh, I think I could have been interacting with stuff in there.
James started stressing about a client meeting and hoped he had all the needed documents with him.
Look, we have a literal dark cloud over us.
Suddenly it started raining, so he opened the umbrella. The minute James pointed it upwards, lightning struck and burnt him to a crisp.
Oh, son of a bitch.
This is James. James woke up early as he did.
What the fuck?
Groggy and tired, he went to the kitchen to begin his morning by turning on the radio.
That happens to me all the time. Getting struck by lightning.
Addict that he was, he started brewing a cup of coffee out of freshly ground beans that he had roasted.
Wait, this dude has pictures of coffee.
While listening to the broadcast and drinking his
photosynthesize.
About a coming day at the office.
The Bean Book, a book of beans.
And their client was coming in for a final review of the papers.
Ooh, I broke it.
Realizing he was running late, he picked up his umbrella and briefcase before heading for the door.
Alright. Are we going to get struck by lightning again?
Walking down the street,
look at the pug!
Stressing about a client meeting and hoped he had all the needed documents with him.
I'm going to get struck again. I don't...
Raining, so he opened the umbrella.
Don't open it.
James pointed it upwards, lightning struck and burnt him to a crisp.
I don't...
This is James.
Damn it, James! Stop opening your umbrella!
Groggy and tired, he went to the kitchen to begin his morning by turning on the radio. But the radio didn't work.
Haha, broke it.
That's odd, James thought.
Okay.
As a mildly functioning caffeine addict that he was, he started brewing a cup of coffee out of freshly ground beans that he had roasted the night before.
Me too.
While drinking his brew, James worried about the coming day at the office. Today was a deadline for a case he had worked on for weeks, and the client was coming in for a final review of the papers. Realizing he was running late, he picked up his briefcase before heading for the door.
Okay. We didn't get the umbrella. So that changed things.
Down the street, James started stressing about a client meeting and hoped he had all the needed documents with him.
James always be stressing.
He didn't want to get wet, so he started running for the station. In his haste, James slipped and fell on the road beside him and got hit by a car.
Damn it, James.
James woke up early as he did every workday. Groggy and tired, he went to the kitchen to begin his morning by turning on the radio. But the radio didn't work. That's odd, James thought. As a mildly functioning caffeine addict that he was, he started brewing a cup of coffee out of freshly ground beans that he had roasted the night before. While drinking his brew, James worried about the coming day at the office. Today was a deadline for a case he had worked on for weeks, and the client was coming in for a final review of the papers. Realizing he was running late, he picked up his briefcase before heading for the door. Walking down the street, James started stressing about a client meeting and hoped...
Legend has it that the previous owner left to pursue a more ludicrous business regarding a different psychostimulant. Save me, dog!
And got hit by a car. This is
Alright.
James.
Break the radio.
James woke up early as he did every workday. Groggy and tired, he went to the kitchen to begin his morning by turning on the radio. But the radio didn't work. That's odd, James thought. As a mildly functioning caffeine addict that he was, he started brewing a cup of coffee out of freshly ground beans that he had roasted the night before. While drinking his brew, James worried about the coming day at the office. Today
Maybe no coffee. Yeah, no, I just don't know what to do about not having
of the papers.
coffee.
Realizing he was running late, he picked up his briefcase before heading for the door. Walking down the street, James started stressing
Pug, save me.
And hoped he had all the needed documents with him. Suddenly, it started raining. He didn't want to get wet, so he started running for the station. A passing dog barked and caught James' attention, stopping him.
Saved by the dog!
What a cute dog, he thought, and walked safely to the tram station. James reached the tram station and found that there was only one other passenger waiting. A beautiful young woman reading a book. James stared for a second, then looked down. The tram's arrival startled him. It was the one James was waiting for, so he quickly boarded it.
Is the train gonna crash?
The woman looked up from the book, realizing the tram had arrived.
Uh-oh.
But it wasn't her tram, so she returned to her book.
Okay.
James was sitting in the tram looking out the window. He started thinking about the client's case again and thought that he should check the documents. Suddenly, when he was about to open his briefcase, somebody, quite ironically, pulled the emergency stop.
Huh. Wonder who did that. Alright, James. What are we doing, James? There he goes. That distracted him from the documents, at least for a little bit.
The tram had arrived as he stopped. Shit, he thought and rushed out.
Oh no. Not rushing really fast, though.
James was sitting at his desk.
It is the office, though.
And preparing for the meeting with the client. His boss entered the office.
Oh my God.
With the client whose case James was handling. The boss harkled to get James' attention.
Is that a James there?
The boss went on introducing the client to James, which was odd, since James had met him already.
This is Bob. Bob crunched. Don't be like Bob.
To the client.
Right.
Having gone through the folder once, the client looked confused, then went through it again. What is the lease? He asked. James was horrified when realizing that he had forgotten to add the list to the folder. The boss went on to scold him over the missing document with the client still in the room, and then commanded James to go and send the document to the printer.
TikTok, sucker.
Turned on the printer, which started shooting sparks everywhere. The poor boss who was touching the device got electrocuted and died, after which the printer kindly printed out the list. Well, I guess that makes you the boss now, the client said, grabbing the document. Eventually, once everything had settled, he shook James's hand and left.
Did he say I'm the boss
In a bit
now?
of shock, James concluded that the only sensible thing to do right now was to get a cup of coffee. He only had some instant coffee and a kettle to boil some water in, which he proceeded to turn on. But it didn't.
But it
Groaning,
didn't.
James got up and decided to get a cup from the cafeteria next door.
Damn.
Tired after a very stressful
Caffeine
day,
addict, huh?
James was happy to be sitting somewhere away from the office with a cup of coffee in his hands.
There's a bun person.
Suddenly, the client walked in, recognizing James. "Saturday, eh?" he said, and James agreed. "Hey, I?" the client asked, gesturing at the empty chair opposite of James, and sat down before James had time to answer. Then the client went on talking about a case that James had been working for him, and revealed that he still hadn't figured out what to do with his newly acquired property. After that, the client started asking about James, and they went on talking about his career.
Don't ask me
He
that.
told the client about his dream of running a cafe, which led to them talking long about all the different aspects of coffee making, the beans, the roasting, and the brewing. Then the client bluntly said, "We should start a coffee shop together. I mean, I have a property that used to be a cafe, and now I have a driven coffee enthusiast in front of me who wants nothing but to make coffee." "I'd like to, but I can't," James stated.
Why the fuck not? You're making excuses, James.
To leave his current job.
That's-
He was doing too well there already, with the promotion and all. The client understood, wished James all the luck in his future career, and left.
The fuck?
James was sitting in a tram going home and was looking
Oh.
out the window.
That's a personality trait of James's. We make excuses.
The tram arrived at James's station, so he got up and got out.
Away from the office where the boss just died. You're right.
The only thing he was
Foggy.
hoping for right now was to get home and to bed.
If I don't get hit by a car again. Kawa!
Eventually, he reached his home and got in. James
Hey, at least
walked
I made
slowly
it.
and sat straight to bed. There, he shut his eyes and fell into an uncomfortable and uneasy sleep, worrying about tomorrow.
Time loop? James got promoted at the office. This was James. Thanks for playing. Oh, damn it, James. I kind of like that one. I got kind of lucky, though, with that run. Wildly just clicking on stuff. What do we think about this as James? Are there other endings? I'm assuming there is other endings. Maybe if I wildly started clicking in the cafe, something would have happened. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I kind of liked that. That was kind of cool. Alright. But yeah, I assume there are other... Don't kill the boss so you don't get promoted. Do you think I should go through another run, see if I can get a different ending? Uh-oh. All right. All right, we're going to move on from this to James. I like that one. We may come back to that one, see if we can get a different ending.